actually get better when you want me to hold this up, put the canister back in there.
Broke in the middle, and then the top came off. For sale, one lightly used TX18.
Welcome to episode 2 of Jet Boat Video Podcast. This episode we're going to talk about crashes and life jackets, something that not a lot of people seem to be talking about, but very important as far as I'm concerned. Today we have Shane with us. I didn't give you any pet names like I did Josh last time. Do you want one?
No, I'm good. Yeah.
So kind of why I wanted to do this is talk about this, because Arizona last year we had 2 big crashes. Luckily everybody came out okay. Shane was one of them. Our buddy Jack was another one. And really Shane's crash is a perfect example of you don't need to be going fast to have a serious accident. I mean, it doesn't need to be, and it happens fast.
No, 45 miles an hour, you can just be on your way back to the ramp, and or another boat just comes from nowhere.
Just cruising back to the ramp on a Saturday or Sunday afternoon, right?
Yep.
So I don't know a whole lot about Jack's crash. His was, we think, a loader came apart, which I'm going to be doing a future video here shortly, because I need to pull my loader for yearly maintenance and what I do. So we're going to have a little video on that and checking loaders and stuff, because I think that's an item everybody, does oil and checks everything else, but I think
it's often overlooked. It's metal, it fatigues, and it needs to be inspected for cracks, and I think it would be a good idea to do a tech video on that. So
I pull mine every year. I change my bolts every year, so that's coming up too. But his we think was a loader. It was after a pass, I believe, right?
Yeah, he was on shutdown.
He made a pass and then he turned back around and he was coming back.
No, it was just on shutdown.
Oh, it was on shutdown? Okay.
So it was on the big end.
Okay.
And I actually did get to see that loader, and you guys will be shocked at just the shapes that the metal changes into.
Yeah, and luckily he walked away with that one, and unfortunately the boat didn't walk away though, so he's working on another boat. But so let's talk about your crash, since we got you here and we don't have Jack here. So tell us about all that.
My crash is coming up on a year, probably close to the time that this will air, Easter Sunday 2023. I had really just got the boat back together, and it was the end of a good day, and I was out with Jack and many of the Arizona Jet Boat people out at Canyon Lake. And the boat ran great that day, fastest it ever ran. Still was in the tuning process with it, and wasn't hot dogging, wasn't doing anything crazy, just going back to the ramp to pull the boat. We all think about wearing life jackets on a hot pass, but we don't often think about it on a slow pass. Well, this particular time, I was about 100 yards off of the no wake zone, so really just starting to back off of it, and hit a rolling wake, the best that I can remember. I don't remember a whole lot. The boat kicked up. I remember thinking while flying through the air, so this is how it is. Just seeing the bow just rising up.
Was it slow motion? Everybody says, man, it seems like super slow motion.
Yeah, it's like, and it was super slow motion. I have the bow hanging in the background here, and I just remember seeing the steering wheel and the bow going up, and the feeling of myself slowly turning upside down, floating out of it, and then I'm out. So my next thought was
knocked out.
Yeah,
as far as you know, you
don't. So at this time, I don't know. My next thought is like very casual. Well, I guess I should swim for the surface. So,
right, because you basically woke up for the most part underwater.
Yeah, I was underwater. That was what I knew is that I was underwater. So I take a breaststroke, I'm swimming for the surface. Didn't break the surface. Take another one, I still didn't break the surface. So then I started doing ladder crawls, kicking like crazy. I finally break the surface, and I'm about 10 feet away from Tom Rowe's boat. Tom Rowe was nowhere around when we crashed. I'm like, how did he get here so soon? My boat's gone. I'm looking for something to float on. Fortunately, I had a bunch of those orange life preservers that everybody has stashed up all over the boat. My thought was that those would keep my boat from sinking. I was wrong. Grabbed a hold of one of those. Tom was white as a ghost. He's like, how'd you stay underwater that long? I was underwater for more than 2 minutes. Had
Enough
no
time
idea.
for him to
Yes.
come up to the crash, do some circling looking for you,
Yep.
right?
Yep. He was circling around looking for me, and yeah, about the time that I got onto the back of his boat, MCSO, the local authority, the sheriff, was about 100 yards en route with their boat, and they weren't even in their boat at the time. They pulled me over from Tom's boat onto their boat, took me by ambulance to Banner Desert Medical Center in Phoenix. I came out relatively lucky, like very lucky.
Extremely lucky.
Yeah.
I remember I talked to you like, probably the day after,
Yeah.
and you told me a little bit about this story, and I was like, dude, you're lucky to be alive,
Yep.
man.
Very lucky to be alive. But had 2 broken ribs on the one side, 1 broken rib on the other side. We thought it was a broken elbow. Turns out it was just a really nasty bruise to the elbow. And afterwards, you're left with, now what do you do? So
Yeah, because everybody always talks about the crash. You're like, okay, what happened to the crash? What caused it? You know, is everybody okay and things like that? But
yeah, that's really the part where you start to realize how important it is to have yourself prepared before these crashes. And I was fortunate to have insurance through Nikki Bostic and the Farmers Insurance, and Martha over at Bostic, Foremost, I guess is what they're called, insurance.
yeah, she does a lot of Arizona people.
Yeah, yeah. If
I
you-
got insurance through her.
Yeah, and they're not afraid to insure the hotter boats like we have. And with those hot boats, they understand that, you know, a lot of these boats have high horsepower, but they also understand what happens in a crash and how quickly medical costs add up. My medical costs, I was shocked at the cost of the ambulance ride and the trip into the hospital, let alone what you're faced with
After the fact.
after pulling your boat out of the water. You have
Yeah,
to
because
pull
that's
it out.
basically your responsibility, right?
Yep. You're responsible for pulling it out, and if you don't, the government will pull it out for you and fine you in addition to the cost of pulling it out. So it's a no-brainer for the amount of money that we throw into some of these boats, expensive ones or even the cheaper ones, to have at least some level of insurance to help cover yourself. But more important to the whole thing is just how quickly an accident can happen,
Yeah, I think
and you're not even thinking that you're doing anything wrong, and suddenly you're in the air.
Yeah, and that's why yours was unfortunately a perfect example of that.
Yeah.
Not hot rodding, just headed back to the ramp after the day of boating, and just something, a sneaky roller, which everybody's had a sneaky roller come
Yeah.
up, you know, and makes for a real bad day real quick for just cruising on the lake.
Yeah, we're all out there to have fun, and you know, hot boats, jet boats, even the tuna trawler wake boats, yeah, those guys.
The ones that we love.
Yeah. And those waves can kill you, and you don't always see them.
Yeah.
So since then, following the accident, I've been more diligent about wearing a life jacket when I'm underway.
Yeah, so before the accident, were you a ritual life jacket
No.
jacket wearer?
Nope. Only during a hot pass.
Yeah.
I figured, a hot pass, the risk is there. I'm going to wear something like a Lifeline, something like, a heavy duty neoprene sport style life jacket. After the crash, I'm pretty regular about wearing it anytime the boat is underway.
Yeah. So my story, so anybody that's seen me out on the water, I have a jacket on pretty much 99.9% of the time. I don't care if I'm just going, a couple hundred yards to the sandbar or whatever. I always have. Usually it's just my neoprene zip and buckle. And then I have a Lifeline too that I have as well. I don't wear it too much, but I'm always in a jacket. For me, I didn't have any accidents or anything. For me, it was somebody else's accident. I believe it was in 2018. There was a two-boat accident in Needles. And just regular old boats, no jet boats, but two boats, like 8 people went in the water. Numerous people went to the hospital. And the biggest thing is one of the girls, she was 18, 19, 20, something like that. She went in the water. They didn't find her. And they didn't find her body for 2 years. She was missing under the water for 2 years.
Oh, yeah.
That was for me and my wife, a big eye opener. Like, man, they were doing the same thing, just cruising and collided with another boat, whose fault, whatever. But that was like, you know what, if I'm going to go in the water, I don't want to be bobbing around for a year or two before they find my body, and it was just a little eye-opening for me. And ever since then, because I was the same way, I didn't wear a jacket. I had it stuffed in the front and just be like, okay, if I get pulled over, here's my life jacket, and it's very hard for me to get to. But ever since then, I have a jacket on every single time.
Yeah, the eye opener for me was I didn't know I was underwater until I woke up underwater. And who's to say that girl wasn't a similar story, that she just didn't wake up.
Yeah.
If you're in a life jacket,
yeah,
at least you're going to be able to breathe when you're unconscious.
Yeah, or somebody gets to you quick enough, even if you're face down, somebody's quick enough to get to you and pull you. Because I'm guessing that hers was the same as yours, just slow crash, bumped your head, whatever, went underwater, and it wasn't the crash that ended up getting her. It was drowning because,
Yep.
underwater. So, but
yeah. It's a serious subject, one that has to be talked about.
Yeah, not the most exciting thing to talk about, but I think, I wanted to do this before boating season really kicks off for some of us, and just, I don't know. I don't know if it's, hey, I'm too cool to wear a life jacket or whatever. I don't care. Make fun of me. I'm wearing my life jacket no matter what. So
I think some of it could be spun the other way, just in the fact that, if you have a hot boat, then you should be running the race level safety equipment as well. That's part of being one of the hotter boats.
Yeah, and a lot of the guys that put on some of these, events and stuff where we do some, sandbar trash talk racing and stuff. A lot of them they're making it mandatory now. You will have a jacket on, preferably a Lifeline or something like that.
Yep.
Some of them, I think some of the guys even have helmet restrictions. Hey, if you're running this fast, you need a helmet as well. So I don't know. Like I said, during all the racing organizations and stuff, they have their rules and for safety. And
Yep.
I don't know. I like to see more people, because I see, people hauling ass on the river and doing whatever, acting, a fool sometimes, and no life jacket in sight. And I mean, if that's what you want to do, that's fine. But, if somebody's coming up on you, better chance of surviving with even a little neoprene jacket on. So.
Yeah. Well, and you can hit your head just like you know, the red K boat,
Oh yeah, with Scott.
Scotty Steele, he
Yeah.
hit his head.
Had a life jacket on
Had a
though,
life jacket on.
so
Yeah.
saves you. So I don't know. I would like to see more people wearing them rather than just shoving them up in the bow or under the seat and stuff like that. So, but well, thanks for sharing your experience, man. I know
Anytime.
sometimes something like that is a little difficult, but I think it's, again, good for people to hear, and just, you know, something little will have a big consequence and stuff. So what about boats in the future?
Well,
Tell everybody what you got right now.
what I got right now is a V-drive boat. So jet boats.
Yeah, he gets a ration of shit from everybody about that. So, but he's got a blower motor in it and stuff. But you just acquired a little bubble deck.
Yep.
Bubble deck, right?
75 Howlett bubble deck that a lot of my old equipment will be going into, including the jet that's in the background here. And that's part of our cheap boat challenge, or budget boat build, as Johnson's calling it.
Yeah, so for people not in Arizona, I guess,
Yeah.
or not in the Southwest, they're doing a little unofficial type, hey, cheap boat challenge. You know,
Yeah.
how
Find a cheap boat.
find a
that's
cheaper boat, find
buried
a
in the
cheaper engine,
background.
and kind of throw it together with
what you
leftover
can,
pieces or whatever.
resurrect it, get it out there.
So,
Yeah.
well,
And
even though you're in the V-Drive team for the moment, so you're
Yeah.
still welcome to hang out with us, I guess.
I hope
You got to get that jet boat done though, so you
Oh,
can
yeah.
come hang out with us in the shallow water stuff that your
yeah, my
big
V-drive
fat
won't-
V-Drive ain't gonna make it to.
That's true.
So,
I'll be out there this summer,
Yeah.
for sure.
but thanks for all the comments on the first video. You guys gave us some ideas on future videos that you guys want to see. Same thing here. If want to do a video, shoot me a message or leave a comment, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah.
Thanks.